One of the things that I struggle with when let's say I'm filling in for a pulpit supply, which is a generic term when a pastor's out and they need somebody to speak. And they'll ask if I do it. And I know that part of the job is to shake hands afterwards so you don't seem like you're a distant person. But I really don't like to do that because the temptation is to hear the validation that people say. And they'll say, oh, that was nice. That was nice. I go, oh, why did I do this? Am I doing it so they say good job? And because people who go to church oftentimes will mistake it for a show, right? They won't see what it's for. It's the worship of God. It's for God. And they'll say, good job, you. It's so hard to not say thank you, right? Because it is a gift that you've been given. But the temptation is to really get the response of the crowd, which is very, very, very tempting. And I always struggle with it. What do you do with that? How do you manage that?
Well, it's interesting that you asked that question because it actually is the answer of a different question that you sent ahead of time of the best advice that I've ever been given.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And one of those pieces of advice, Jeff, was from a mentor that I had in Oregon. So after I graduated college, moved out to Oregon, was a youth pastor out there for almost 6 years. And one of my mentors out there said, Tom, I want to teach you something that's going to be very important for you. And he said, the statement is this: taste but don't swallow. And what I mean by that is when you are told good job, when you're given encouragement, when you're told, hey, whatever you did was great, taste it, because we all need that encouragement in our life. But don't swallow it because you could get that on yourself. The same thing goes with criticism or constructive criticism, or however you want to say it. Taste it. Um, think about what part of it, glean whatever you can from it that may be true, even if it's just 1%, 0.1%. But don't swallow it, because then you can get down on yourself. And I felt, and that's something that I have thought about many, many times. I've shared that advice with other people because it really was transformative for me. And then it really goes in line with what we heard from our friend John Maxwell at the summit. I know you were there this year at the RESGEN Men's Summit, which I know we'll get into in a little bit. But when I heard the story, the first time I ever met him personally, and I was in a room with him, and he was talking about this very thing and how people were telling him how amazing his teaching was, or books, or whatever. And his mentor told him, John, I want you to know you're not amazing. Your gifts are amazing. And those gifts were given to you by an amazing God. And so it's our job to steward those amazing gifts and give glory to our amazing God. And if we're stewarding those gifts, that means that we're using those, Jeff, to the highest level of potential that we can. And so that doesn't mean we should shrink. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't use them to their fullest out of fear that, well, what happens? Because I don't know what to do with a compliment. No, we use it to the fullest extent and say, man, thank you so much. And I'm just glad that God can use it. That's what keeps us on the tracks.